Hello, welcome to another Iron Man video. This is the rundown of the 4850 Infinity War Suit nanotech helmet. We're just going to run down how I put this together. Most of it is covered in some of my other videos, but I'm just going to run through it and show you where the parts are and kind of sort of how I have it wired. It's not like a DIY, just like how I configured it, how I made it work for me. It may work for you, as it be. But the helmet is wirelessly controlled. There's a radio receiver inside the helmet, and the transmitter is in the crab claw, as I've shown in some of the other videos. So if I just snake my hand in there and press the good old button, it opens right up, and you can see that there's interior lights that are on right now. When the mask closes, those turn off. Those are operated by a sneaky little, I don't know if you can see that. Let me bring it up to the camera here. See, I don't know if the light will catch that. Right in there, there's a little mercury switch right here, and that activates the interior lights. So whenever that mercury light is, pointing down, it turns them off. When it's pointed up, it turns them on. Just like, basically, that's what I've done in the past with some of my other helmets in order to make those work with the lights anyway. I've used those mercury switches and stuff to, in with the helmet so that the eyes themselves, when the helmet comes down, they turn on. This one I did differently because when the faceplate comes down, those lights are already on, and I didn't want that. I wanted them to slowly fade on, so I had to get a circuit board in there to control those. So basically, well, not basically, what actually happens, press the button, the helmet closes, and the eyes fade on. It should be a little bit faster if it's going to mirror the movie, but that was really dramatic, and I really liked it, so I kept that amount of fade on. So what we'll do now, turn it over, and the way that this gets worn is around the back here. This whole piece is magnetized and can come right off. Now, I haven't been able to do maintenance on this since Comic-Con, and I have a loose battery pack right here. This one's all loose and needs to be re-glued, so I'm going to try and wedge that. Okay. Now, for the time being, I will turn the interior lights off because as this is upside down, those lights will just stay on. So they're separate. They're on a separate circuit. They have their own batteries and everything. For those, I use these disc batteries. There's one on either side. I just ran some long wire. As you can see, there's a lot of wire in here. That's one thing that I'm going to remedy with the next time I do this. I use way too much wire. I think that's pretty obvious. With how confined everything is in here, I really don't need to be using all this wire, so I'm going to try and trim that down. That should make it easier to get everything in here and configure the way that I want it. Now, right off the bat, the hinges that open and close the helmet, I only have the ones on the Widow's Peak, and those are the ones that are attached to the servos. I don't have the side ones that other people do. I haven't found that to be effective for me. What I will show you is how I get that helmet, or how I get it to work the way that I do. See if there's a good angle. Alright, right here. You can just barely see it. There's a string here. Usually you use an elastic string, but in this case I was able to get away with just an ordinary string, black string, tied from the one arm to the top of the helmet. Now what that does, that keeps the helmet from the front of the facepiece right here from falling back downward. So that's keeping it up right now. Otherwise this would just roll down because this joint is actually completely loose. So it would just roll back down if it weren't for that string. Now what happens when this rotates down, that string becomes loose until the mask itself closes. And when that happens, I think I loosened up a battery here. Yep. Okay. Oh yeah, I was messed it all up. Okay. The batteries, I need to put straps on them to hold them in place, otherwise the whole thing gets a little messy. Yeah, back to, let's do that again. Alright, so you can see what happens is it rotates down, but then it gets pulled back in, and that's all done with those singular servos and that string. That string just happens to get tight again when the mask closes, and that kind of pulls it back into place. A little bit screwy here, I think. Oh yeah, that battery's going crazy again. But yeah, so I think it got a little whacked in transit, but it's okay, I'll straighten it out. But back to what I was saying, that's what pulls it back into place. And I have two servos. One of them is reversed. I'm pointing to that one, but I actually don't remember which one was reversed. But one of them is reversed so that they work in unison as elevators. They are controlled by this pickaxe proto board down inside here. Let me turn. I'm sorry about this. Oh no, that's too bright. Okay. Yeah, this proto board here from Pickaxe, this one controls the servos and makes the helmet open and close. This board over here, that's the RF receiver, and that's what triggers the proto board to make the servos open, and it also triggers down here. I have two, they're about a little bit bigger than a quarter. They're Gemma boards. That's what is control. They're Arduino Gemma boards, sorry. That's what's controlling the eyes. Originally, when I first wired this, I actually had both eyes. I had one Gemma board programmed for both eyes, but it just wasn't strong enough, or I wasn't able to put enough voltage to it. Oop, I'm setting it off with the pencil. It didn't have enough voltage, I guess, to run all the LEDs that I had in there. So I had to divide it up and put it on another Gemma board. It wasn't a big deal. It was just, you know, copy and paste, or not even copy and paste, just get another one, program the same exact program onto this one, and, you know, put one as right and one as left, and both eyes end up lighting up. So if I were to set it off, you'd probably see those blink. I don't know with the amount of light we have here. Yeah, everything blinks, opens up, press it again, they close. Now, back to this. There is a boost up converter underneath all this electrical tape. That's because I wasn't able to fit enough batteries in for these. Now I do have a lot of batteries in here, so I would have liked to separate these things a little bit more, but it is what it is. But yeah, there's a separate battery pack for the receiver, separate battery pack for the proto board and the servos, and then the third set of batteries is for both Gemma boards, and then these disc batteries operate the interior lights. I would go over more of this, but basically if you're watching my how I wired the helmet up videos, you'll see that. And I actually have another helmet coming up that I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to be using the pieces from that video series to make the new helmet open and close. It won't be for a full costume, it'll just be for the fun of it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I know that just basically skims the surface of it, but that's how I have everything set up, and it operates everything nicely. So, alright, thanks for watching, guys. Later.